Sausage.
Hello, everyone. This is Attack the Backlog, the podcast where Marcus Nez, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This is not Attack the Backlog. Fuck me. No, 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 no. This is Second Runs, the show where Marcus Nez, replays games they played in the past to see if they still like them today. I don't know if that's the intro for this. What is the intro for this? This is Second Runs, though, where I play games I played and enjoyed in the past to see if I still enjoy them today. And this here episode is all about Star Wars The Force Unleashed, an action game where you play as Star Killer and exists in this fictionalized, non canon version of Star Wars where you're doing things that definitely did not happen and hopefully having quite the Jedi/Sith power trip while you're doing it all, using your force powers to go whoosh and and boom and whoop. And you know what? This game fucking sucks. I don't I don't understand how I ever liked this in the past. Replaying this game today was a real struggle. I apparently played it on the easiest difficulty back in the day, which was a rarity for me and a surprise because back then I used to play everything on the hardest difficulty to get all the achievements, and I did not do that here. As I learned when I beat the game this time and unlocked the achievement for playing it on the default difficulty of Sith Warrior or something like that. But Star Wars The Force Unleashed is just a terrible, terrible game. It does not deliver that power fantasy that I remembered it being. Again, that could be the easier difficulty, but it was just an incredible slog to get through. Something that I 1000% did not want to finish and just kept playing because I hate myself more than I hated the game. But it was pretty awful. The game itself, from a difficulty standpoint, waffles all over the place. It goes from being incredibly easy to incredibly frustrating at the drop of a hat, where some enemies are just complete pushovers. They do nothing. They're worthless or just fodder. And then other enemies can block all your stuff, and it doesn't feel like there's ever a strong strategy to use on this enemy or that enemy. And ultimately, I would, with any enemy that would block me, I would, unless they have some kind of defense to lightning, I just give them a little shock to open them up and then attack them a few times and rinse and repeat. With the bosses, those especially felt like there was never any kind of clear indication as to how you're supposed to deal with them. What is this particular boss's weakness? What is the strategy you use against them? I have no idea. It just feels like you brute force it, or maybe you get lucky and the boss glitches out because it is a buggy game. Multiple times I fell through the geometry and just fell floating through nothingness for however long until the game decided, oh, this is not right. Let's kill Star Killer and start over. The story is fine, but the game itself made it so that I stopped caring about the story because I enjoyed playing the game so little. One of the biggest moments I remember from the game that I remembered being such a power fantasy type of situation where you are pulling down this destroyer with what is maybe the strongest display of force powers in the history of Star Wars. I'm not sure if we've ever seen a more powerful display of the force. Again, not canon, but what I remembered from playing it over 15 years ago was that you get to that moment and then you're just uninterrupted pulling down this star destroyer. But that's not how it is in the game. It is instead first you defeat this wave of TIE fighters that are attacking you, and you do this by hiding behind a little cover, and then you grab this debris that's coming in and you go, "Boop, boop." You throw it at the TIE fighters, you take them all down, and now you're free to get right in the middle and start pulling down that destroyer, and you're like, you're pulling it down, you feel fucking so goddamn strong and amazing and incredible, but then you see in the distance, "Oh, wait, some more TIE fighters spawn. They're getting closer and closer. Oh, 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 I gotta go hide behind the cover again." So that you're pulling down the destroyer, but then you eventually have to stop and say, "Wait, wait, wait, hold on. I'm gonna go back behind cover." And then you go boop, 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 boop. And you do that all again, and then you start pulling down the destroyer again. You're like, "Oh, I'm fucking strong as shit." And then more TIE fighters spawning. You're like, "Oh, wait, wait, go back behind cover. Oh, boop, 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 boop." And you have to do that at least 3 times before you can pull down the destroyer and get your cutscene. And it takes what should have been this incredible moment of raw strength, raw power, where you feel like the biggest badass in the whole Star Wars universe, in Star Wars history. It makes you just feel like a moron who constantly has to fucking hide behind cover so that these TIE fighters aren't killing you while you're pulling down this gigantic ship. Why I understand it probably takes it probably takes all of your force ability to focus on this destroyer, but I don't know, have some automated turrets that pop up out of somewhere and take down these TIE fighters so that you can fucking just focus on the destroyer, but that's not how it works. And the rest of the game is just this really mixed bag of a mess of a thing where some enemy, like I said, some of the enemies are really frustrating to deal with them. Some are fodder, and there's never any in between. And it made me long for the days not that long ago of me playing the Jedi games, Fallen Order and Survivor, where even though I have never quite jived with a parry system, I wanted a parry system here. I wanted some kind of intricacies to the combat system, but there is no. It's a combo offensive system. So you have your force powers, force push, force grab, force lightning, and a force repel type of thing where you just expel energy from you, which is nice to have. But your force powers drain pretty quickly, your force energy, so you have to wait for that to replenish. And they never felt that powerful because even if you push enemies around, they'll typically still get back up, and flinging enemies around doesn't always kill them. It really just led to me not using the force powers as anything other than a deterrent, where I would go in and hack and slash enemies, but then if I needed to just repel enemies so that I can focus on one or two, I could do that. I found that the lightning shield was kind of beneficial because it gave me the shield, but also increased my damage a bit. I never engaged with any of the unique combos because it just felt like pointless nothingness, and it was just a hack and slash type of experience where your combos in themselves and your actions never looked that exciting. The the DLC, which I played for the first time here, was I did a real dumb thing. Only one of them has difficulty achievements or achievements tied to difficulty for it, and I played through one of them, the I think Tatooine DLC on the hardest difficulty, and I had a horrible time with it because that DLC did not want to end either. I defeated Rancor, and then I thought the final boss fight of that was going to be against Boba Fett, but it wasn't. Then I had to fight Obi-Wan, and then I killed Obi-Wan, and then I had to kill his fucking Force Ghost. I was like, what? Just end game and give me my achievement. And then I realized there are no achievements tied to the difficulty for that one, which was on me for not paying attention, and then I played through the other ones just on the easiest because I just didn't care anymore. But it was really disappointing returning to it because I remembered again it being so satisfying and so fun, and it was not fun at all. And I wasn't playing on that hard of a difficulty. I was just playing on the default difficulty, and it was just really, really disappointing and a little glitchy. Thankfully, I didn't experience what a few of my friends did, which was a game-breaking bug at the final boss. But it it really kind of broke my heart because I remembered it so fondly and it being the number one best power fantasy power trip for a Star Wars game, and I no longer think that's the case. It is still kind of fun flinging enemies around, but that only gets the game so far. The most fun I probably had with it was just seeing how the physics get a little wonky because that is in that era of like Grand Theft Auto 4 where you have the Havoc engine and I don't know, I don't think it used it, but the emotion engine where enemies, NPCs could trip over something or stumble over this or that, and then they just kind of fall in a very exaggerated way and sometimes very endlessly where they might just start glitching and freaking out. And there falls there was a few times where some door would fall down on either me or an NPC and they would just be flinging their body up and down. And that was amusing, but that only lasted for a few seconds before I'd have to move on. So those little pockets of pleasure were very limited. And even then, it's not something I'm enjoying because I'm playing. It's just something I'm enjoying because I'm looking at it. And it's like, this is silly. But yeah, I really wanted to like it and thought I was going to have a good time with it. I thought it was going to be a really good kind of break game to space long playthroughs with, but it ended up being a really sad revisit, and it is one of those kind of situations. It's a case or an example of how going back to games you played in the past and remembered liking, maybe that's not always the best idea because you'll end up having a negative experience now and tarnishing your positive experience from the past. Because now The Force Unleashed has gone from a game I remembered really liking to a game I hated playing today and no longer look back on fondly because I can only remember what I played in the immediate present as opposed to the past. But yeah, I played on Xbox Series X via backward compatibility, and I wonder if there were any issues with that in terms of the not the emulation there, but just the whatever is going on there that could potentially have some issues tied to it. But that's it. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, a fucking frustrating ass experience that really just broke my heart. But at least there are a lot of skins in it, I guess. There are so many skins in it. And I got to, in one of the DLCs, they give you all the stuff unlocked. I played as Jango Fett. Well, I put the skin on and used the dark saber, and the dark saber looks pretty cool in the game. If only the game itself was as cool as using the dark saber. So that's that. Anywho, that is going to do it for this here episode of Attack the Backlog. Once again, I am Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to a monthly Q&A, the occasional watch party, a private Discord channel, along with some fancy Discord roles, and the occasional drop on the Patreon here or there, depending on your tier. Or you could just support me to support me if that is your fancy. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is the letter P, the letter X, sausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, I just accidentally, with my hand movements that I'm doing, I smacked the mouse button and accidentally stopped recording mid outro. So as always, I don't even remember where I ended. As always, I am Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. No, 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 no. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoy this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. But for now, adios, arrivederci. Bye
It's
bye.
go time. Go, Daddy. It's go time. Go, Daddy.